Hey, welcome back and Happy New Year to everyone out there. Today we're going to do 3 times the charm for the micro AK-47. My first video got taken down by YouTube because I violated the terms. I don't know, I must have said something stupid, which has been a recurring theme in my life. So this is a Century Arms imported 7.62x39 AK-47. It's a micro AK. This thing is one of my favorite guns. I keep making videos about it, but I keep upgrading it. So this will be the last one, I promise, but I've had some stuff put on. If you've been following along, this is not the same weapon I showed before. Comes, you know, from the factory, you're gonna have this 30-round palm mag. It's like this plastic magazine. It's pretty good. I don't have any issues with it. But if you look, there's a different mag on the gun already. Also, you notice hopefully this format's a little bit better. The last couple of videos I put another lens on my camera and it's not really working out, so I'm sorry for the quality there. I'm going to upgrade that and hopefully this will be like an HD quality video. So original mag was that palm mag. I think it's just a standard mag they ship out now. It's a good mag. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I read some reviews and looked at some YouTubers that have reviewed it. It gets pretty good reviews, so I'm not going to badmouth it. I've got some other magazines here. I'm going to put those out of the way for the time being, and we'll get into this. So just quick, you can see there's a brace been added to it. That's a CNC Warrior brace. So got that, brought that over to the gun shop. The way the brace works, it's kind of the opposite of the typical braces that are out there by Sig Sauer or whatever company they're using. It works literally just the opposite. So to get this thing to work, simply just flip it out like that, and now the brace is fully out. To retract it back to its original position, instead of the Sig stuff, you pop it from the top. This CNC Warrior, you're just gonna go down here and you put your thumb on this. You can see my outline of my thumb on that flat area. So I'm gonna push down with my thumb and I'm gonna pull up with my fingers, and that simply just breaks it and it folds right back to normal. That was at the gun store. That was a $50 bill to get that thing put on. Money well spent. It is really cool. I like it with the brace. Kind of adds a new dimension to the firearm. Also, I took an old AK magazine, and I've got, for Crick Mix, I got some gun skins, which I was a little skeptical on Jump Street on these things. So I was like, ah, screw it, I'll stick one of these gun skins onto an old AK mag, and it kind of came out really nice, and I didn't even heat it. So I guess you need to use a heat gun and it'll flatten it out even further, but it kind of made it together nice, and it kind of makes the gun for me. I like it. I think it looks really cool, especially with, you know, a U.S. flag on such a weapon that's been kind of notorious for being a foreign weapon. So that's that. I think it looks good, functions well, no issues with that. There's a S-load of aftermarket parts for these and magazines. This is a 40 rounder. That's this CNC. I just stuck it on there for no apparent reason. I think it looks cool. Like a lot of things, I just do it because I think it looks cool. And once it's in there, I think it looks pretty legit. So it's a 40 rounder. And then this, you gotta have one of these just for fun, just to show your friends. 75 rounder. And you know what? Look at that thing, will not go in because it butts up against the brace. So we'll extend the brace out for that. And now you got your 75 rounder in there. Let me see if I can close it. So look at the brace hits that. So your 75 rounder is only gonna work with the brace out. My own critique of the brace, this is something I would do different. And I've seen, I don't know if this is a pretty standard thing with AKs, but I would have had the brace mounted so it folded the opposite way. Point being on that is, so here's a safety on the AK. Let me just make sure she's empty. So you can see why I wanted it on the other side. So when you have the brace here, it prevents you from chambering. So unless you kind of flip it up, you know, go in chamber and then go from there, but now you've got to disengage your brace. So hindsight being 2020, I would switch that and flop it over to the other side. You've got nothing over here. You've got no hardware and nothing to run, no moving parts. So that's probably my own critique of what I would have done, just a little different. But shoot, that's why we make videos, right? So if someone's watching this and they're about to get a brace, don't make the same mistake. Just make sure the brace folds to the left side instead of to the right side. So you want it on the opposite side of your ejection port. So I'm gonna take this thing apart. Like I always said on these things, they kick my butt because this dust shield, when I initially took it apart, I bent it on the reinstall. So let's hope that that does not happen again. Simple to take it apart. You can push this down. You can take your dust cover off. I'm gonna put that down beside it here, put it on the side. Real simple here. Here's your recoil spring. Here's your bolt. Just use your thumb, push that recoil spring down. And this is a plastic, I'm gonna show you that in a second. There's another little moving part, I'm sure you saw it. I'm gonna take the spring out, but this is a little plastic buffer tube. This is what the bolt smacks up against you when it's coming back. It's hitting together, so it comes back and it hits that. And I think it's because it's a shorter stroke, they had to make it a little adjustment here. That comes out and put that over here. And then your bolt should just ride back and out. Real simple. And on other AKs, you can typically take this gas portion apart, but there's absolutely no reason to do it here because you've got too many moving parts, and I don't even think it's possible. I don't see a part here. Well, we'll take that back. It looks like maybe you could take off this fore end and get at it. It's to me, it's not worth your while to do that. It's just not worth your while unless you're gonna shoot an ungodly amount of rounds through this thing and you absolutely have to clean up into that gas port. I've cleaned it on a full-size AK and it really does not attract that much dust. So I don't really anticipate that being an issue for anybody. All right, to put it back together, I'm just gonna stand it right up. This bolt, once it's on the rail and it's in there good, see how I'm just putting my hand on top of it and sliding it right back in. That's kind of how you know you did it right. If you put an AK back and you put your hand on the bolt and it's hanging up here and it's not smoothly sliding in, just take the thing apart, take this bolt back off, flip it over and readjust this little piece here because this spins on its own. That's typically what's going to hold you up there. So now we've got the bolt back in. I'm going to take this little doohickey, put that in. I think that's going the right way. I hope it is. And then I'm going to put my recoil spring back in. And we hook that in there. Come on, there's that. And the dreaded dust cover that always kicks my arse. I'm going to put this back on. My main deal here is right down here where I'm showing. If that thing is not home run and lined up just perfectly, you're gonna have issues. And what happened with me is, if you can look to the back here, you can kind of see what's happening. So this is that plastic, I'm gonna say a buffer. It's just a plastic buffer in between the spring. So let me take this back apart. You can look, I've machined that with a Dremel. Okay, because what happened initially when I got this weapon, you can see I've machined it and rounded off just this portion right here. When I first got the weapon, the dust cover would get stuck on it. So I would suggest if anyone's having the same issue, it's an easy fix. Get a Dremel, or if you have a grinder, take this little plastic piece out and you just grind it, because when it comes from the factory, I don't think it's made for this weapon. I think it's made for a full-size AK. It just doesn't made up right. All right, so now we got the dust cover back on. We're gonna say a prayer, snap it back in, and it worked. And to check these, so once you have the dust cover back on, to check it, You want to rack it. If it's in wrong, the dust cover is going to pop off. So it's self-correcting. That's in there good. It's an unmistakable sound. I'm just going to pull the trigger, make sure everything's functioning. So the function test is great. I'm going to break this back down. I'm going to put this back down. Put the magazine back in. And we're right back to where we started, back to home. This is a pistol, not a rifle. The guy at the gun store was already kind of grumbling about some stuff he's hearing about these braces. Honestly, I don't really care. I still like them, and I'm still gonna run it until I'm told otherwise. So that is a Century Arms Micro AK, built in Romania. Another little fun factoid I'll throw at you. All the other AKs that have been imported, I've got an old Century, just did a video on that. That has specific parts that will have to be put on to be US compliant. The AK pistol falls into a different category where all the parts on this gun, been through it, they're all stamped and they all match. So there's no US compliant parts on it, which make it pretty cool. I would say the way the winds are blowing, you might want to go out and grab one just to throw it in the safe, because just what happened last time when guns went through the roof, and especially AK-47s, if you can pick this thing up for like $7 right now and stuff goes nuts and it goes back up to $2,000, you know, you can do the math right there. That's a $1,300 profit that you'd make just off of one purchase. All right, so make sure you adhere to all your local gun laws. Don't want to get anyone jammed up. Make sure you go out and do everything safe. It's a new year, so people often make mistakes. So just be safe out in the range. Be safe when you got your firearms out. Always make sure that they're empty and never point them at anyone unless you intend to use it. All right? So keep your heads low in the foxhole. I'm here to pump them out. I'm going to keep pumping out more videos. I've got some new guns coming in. Super excited to show them to you. Thank you for all the support.